Okay. Having high standards will make you rich is the title for today's video. So, would you like to become an effortless manifester of lots of money? Effortless, meaning you don't have to work for it. You don't need to try hard. Well, if that's the case, you definitely want to pay attention to today's video because today's video is about how simply setting standards for yourself is going to enable you to attract more money in. It does require you to make some shifts to what you're currently doing, but they're easy shifts, okay? So this is a really important topic to talk about because a lot of people want to attract money, but they want to keep the standards that they currently have. And so this is something that I noticed within myself was that as I raised my standards for what I expected maybe out of a job or a relationship or the clothing I would wear or the place that I lived or the places that I would frequent, as I raised my standards for those types of things, my money went up. Okay? And it's something that I've noticed that a lot of people don't do. And it's actually one of the easiest things that you can start to do right now to improve the amount of money that comes your way. So we're going to talk about why standards are so important and how you can start to tweak your current standards and raise them so that you raise the amount of money that comes to you. Excuse me. Now, as you guys are coming in, please go ahead and like the video. Let me know if you can hear me. Cheryl Ann already has. Thank you so much on Facebook. I appreciate you. Nice to see all of you. Island Joy, I see that you've got a super chat. Thank you very much. I'll answer that one in just a minute. Quick hellos here to Happy Daisy, Luis, Opulent Beauty, 888, Picket Music, Rainbow Traveling Yogi, my lovely assistant Mary, Natalie, Jess is here, Jake Cole, 82 is here, Snow Sparkle, Mathis, Dominique, Adrian, so many people. Nice to see you guys. Ip the Messenger, hello. Nice to see you on Instagram. Simike03, nice to see you. Yeah, say hello. And if you have any questions, go ahead and drop them into the chat because as I'm going through, I'll be answering questions. But today's topic is all about raising standards, having high standards. When you have high standards, you're naturally going to attract more money. Even if you don't work for it, more money is going to find you. This is something I've seen dramatic in my own life. So I want you guys to do it as well. So the first point that I want to talk about to get us going is that most people have low standards for what they will accept. And this isn't just in money. This is across all different domains, okay? So sometimes you may see this within relationships or within friendships where there's somebody that you have in your life. Maybe they don't treat you well. Maybe they're not nice to you, but you keep them in your life, okay? This is one way that people have low standards. They're accepting something that is low quality. And so if this is something that you're doing, you will notice that within that subject, you tend to attract low quality. So if you've been accepting poor behavior out of friendships, you kind of become a magnet for bad friendships. You get more friends who are gossipy or rude or who are mean, okay? And the reason why is that the universe is going to match up with you what you accept. What you accept. Not only what you accept, but what you are used to, okay? So this is one reason why raising your standards is a very simple thing that you can do to improve any facet of life. Because if you raise your standard, now you're only going to be a match to things on that higher level. Okay, so let me give you an example when it comes to finances. Okay, so this is one particular way that you can raise your standards if you want to. And I'm not making any judgments on you guys if this isn't your thing. Okay, but this was one that I did, and I noticed that it's had a very improved effect on this area of material wealth, and it has to do with clothing. Okay, clothing. So before I knew anything about the law of attraction, I did not attract a lot of money. A lot of you who watch my content, you know that I came from being broke. I worked multiple jobs. I was very frugal. I was very penny pinching. And so when I would buy clothing, I would buy clothing from very inexpensive stores, and I would buy things that were on the clearance racks. Okay, so I wanted to save as much money as possible. And so I had a very low standard for the types of clothing that I would purchase. Okay. Now, because of this, even as I started to learn about the law of attraction, it took me a while to actually get my clothing game up, because I was so used to buying things off the clearance racks that even if I wanted to attract better things, it was hard for me to find things, or it was hard for me to find things that worked well for me. And so I just kind of defaulted back into wearing lower quality clothing and feeling more like that's where I belonged. Okay. So this was something that I intentionally shifted, because I could see that the way that I was dressing kept me more in a mindset that I'm not worth nice clothes. Nice clothes are too expensive for me. And so really the only things that I could have were those lower quality clothes in my own mind. So what I did was I started to ramp up my standards about the things that I would buy. Instead of just buying things that were cheap, I started to look for things that I really wanted, or things that I felt were high quality. And I made a rule for myself. Okay, so this was the rule. If I go into a store, I will only buy the piece of clothing if it's something I really, really like, it's a high quality piece, and it fits me well. That's the only way I'll buy it. And so I had this new standard. Now, at first, it kind of took me a while to find things, but a very interesting thing happened, which was that as I raised this standard for clothing, I became a match to nicer clothing, to the point where when I walk into a store, it's almost as if there's a laser beam that occurs where I just kind of get sent over somewhere, and I'll pick something up. I'll be like, this looks like it would work. And I'll find something else, and I'll go to the dressing room, and they are perfect pieces. They fit me well. They look nice. They're high quality. I have a high standard. Not only that, in doing this, I found that it was easier and easier for me to find nicer items at higher quality stores. And so I went from being somebody who wore, bargain basement clearance rack clothing, and I'm sure you can see how that relates to your abundance attraction, to somebody who wears much nicer items that always fit, always look nice, always are kind of perfect for me. But it required me to change my standard. I'm not going to go shopping in the clearance bins. I'm not just going to accept what's there that's cheap. I'm only going to buy something if it fits me, it looks good, and I really love it. Okay? So that's one that you can play with that will help you elevate kind of your clothing game and make you a better match for all kinds of things, like material things like clothing. And then also the added benefit of playing with your clothing is that you always want to act as if what you want. You want to act as if you have the thing that you want. Well, people who are wealthy typically dress pretty well. Okay, they dress more polished. They buy nicer clothes that fit them well, higher quality items. And so if you can adjust your standards of clothing, you can start to act more like a wealthy person who attracts more money. Okay, so this is one that I recommend that you work on, although we're going to talk about quite a few. So if you haven't done that one, try it out. It's something that worked really, really well for me. All right, let's answer this super real quick. Thank you, Island Joy, for this super. Here's the question. I'm continually trying to make peace with where I am, but lately I feel like I deserve better. Is feeling entitled a better approach than acceptance of lack, which will bring me closer to what I want? Yes. Yes, that's actually something we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about how you kind of do this. But yeah, the key, kind of the big key message about what we're talking about is getting yourself to the place where you believe You deserve the best. And so the easiest way to go about that is to stop accepting lower quality. That's one of the best things that you can do, because when you stop accepting lower quality, what you're saying in essence is, I'm worth more. But when you just take on the lower quality items, you're saying, this is the level I reside at. I'm the kind of person who only shops clearance. That's the level that I'm at financially. But as you start to reach up and accept higher and higher, a new message starts to go out where you actually do feel entitled to nicer things, better jobs, more money coming in, better situations, better living situations. And it does go hand in hand with the feeling of entitlement. And entitlement does often get a bad rap. When people call people entitled, what they're usually saying is that they're selfish or they're rude or whatever. But really, an entitled person really does have a high, typically high sense of self-worth. They believe they deserve good things. And so this is one of those hang-ups, those little hang-ups people have about wealth attraction, is that I don't want to be entitled. I don't want to be one of those people who believes I deserve the best. But that's in conflict with the law of attraction, because you get what you believe that you deserve. So this is another one of those things we have to kind of wrap our mind around, that it's good for you to be entitled. If you are entitled, you're going to get better things. If you get better things for yourself, your life is going to be improved. You're going to be in a more positive state. You have the ability to impact more people, to help more people, to improve your world. Okay, so it's one of those flips that we need to work with. Good question. Some quick business before we move on. Quick reminder, I do have, if you guys like the abundance content, my big abundance sale is going live May 15th through the 22nd. So I've got 6 abundance programs and packages that will be at their lowest price of the year. And if you'd like to receive the 50% off coupon code for any and all of those courses that you want, go ahead and sign up. There should be a link in the description. Mary, if you drop them in the chat, if she hasn't already, on YouTube and Facebook. On Instagram, you can find the link in my bio. But I'll be sending out information on that sale along with that 50% off coupon code. All of those programs will only go on sale once this year. So this one's kind of a big sale because it's a lot. So if you're the kind of person who wants to become better at attracting money, or if you've been struggling with limitations and money blocks, if you'd like to be able to attract more money easily and naturally without working for it, or if you want to enhance your current abundance at your career, I've got something for you. I also have a debt manifestation, a debt getting out of debt manifestation program as well that's very popular. So if you've been struggling to get out of debt and you'd like to do that using the law of attraction, I've got a program for that as well. So if you're interested in any of that, make sure to go ahead and sign up to get the coupon code when it goes live. That sale will only be available for 1 week only. Okay. Let's turn that off real quick. But again, today we're talking about having high standards. That's the big thing. I'm gonna grab one more question, then I'll keep at it here. Hello, Jean. Jean's got a question today. Hi, Andrea. I'm still dealing with the fear of visibility, success, and prosperity due to intergenerational trauma, I believe. I do EMDR therapy weekly, but what else can I do to make a breakthrough? Oh, good. If you guys haven't looked into that, that's really helpful stuff because it can help you shift beliefs pretty quickly. EMDR therapy. If you go to somebody who knows what they're doing, okay, find somebody qualified. Don't just watch something on the internet. Okay, generational trauma. So what I like for that, because I feel like I kind of came up with the same. There's this tendency to look at the parents or the way that you grew up as it disempowering you. Okay, so maybe my parents were abusive or they were neglectful or there was something that was going on. And that's why I have these problems that I have right now. Okay, this is kind of an issue that keeps it going, because if what we're looking at is this disempowered me, then I don't have a positive definition to put on that. And so whenever I think about that, or whenever I'm around those people, it kind of takes me back. So what we want to do, especially with the parents and the household situations and the childhood trauma issues, we want to redefine them in a way that they empowered you. Okay? So for pretty much anyone watching this, if you guys have learned about the law of attraction, and you have come from a system of childhood trauma, okay, I would say the reason you even manifested knowledge about the law of attraction is because of the childhood trauma. That's what I believe. Because I was such a psychological mess from everything that happened. I was so upset and depressed and distressed in life that there was a very strong wanting to understand how to have a better life. You see? So when you were young, you really wanted better. You wanted better. You wanted better. And when you want something, you start to bring to you things that will get you closer. Okay? So the things that you reach for are the things that you start to get. And so if you discover the law of attraction, there's a good chance it's because there was a longing or a wanting for you to find a way to make your life better. So in that way, what happened to you was very helpful because it puts you in alignment with information that can make a dramatic improvement in your life. Another way to look at this is that people who often come from very traumatic situations often go on to achieve very big things. Not always. Some of them get stuck. But the ones that do break through often shoot very, very far, okay? And the reason why is the further you get pulled back, the more you want to move forward. So anybody who's really been pulled back in life, when they finally let go of those limitations, they shoot forward, okay? And so that's what I would be looking at is, okay, sure, it was very traumatic at the time, but it teed me up to have a very successful future. So this way, when you look at the past, you see it as a reason for you to be successful rather than a reason for you to fail. I hope that's helpful. That's a really good question. Thank you, Jean. Oh, thank you, Snow Sparkle, for the super sticker. Appreciate you. And Arlie, I see your super chat. I'll answer that in just a minute. I want to go through this next point first, and then I'll grab your super, okay? All right, next point. Today we're talking about high standards will make you rich. And again, the first thing to understand is that most people have low standards, okay? So even if you want to attract something big, if you're over here accepting low quality, this is what you're going to keep getting. So we got to raise the standards. And you can do that in many different ways. I talked about it briefly when it comes to doing it with your clothing. That's one way to do it. Okay. The second point, well, what do you do when you get something low quality? Okay. A lot of people are afraid to reject low quality offers. Okay. So let's give a non-abundant example, and then we'll talk a little bit about abundance. Let's say that you really want to get married someday. That's what you want. And somebody comes into your life and they're not a high quality partner. They're not really what you want. And they got some things you really don't like, but they are a viable option and they do want to get married and they do want to fulfill that particular dream for you. Well, a lot of times people will accept that offer, okay? Or they'll have a hard time saying no to it. And the reason why is that there's this fear. If I let this fish go, there may not be another one. I may not have another chance, okay? Sometimes you see this with jobs. Maybe you're out doing a job hunt, job search, and you get an offer, but it's not for the money that you want, or it's not the position that you want, but you feel compelled to take the offer because if I don't take the offer, maybe another one won't come. Understand, when a low offer comes to you and you accept it, what you are falling into is lack mentality. You're accepting it because you're afraid you won't be able to get better. You understand? So a lot of people are afraid to reject the offers that they don't want, but what they don't understand is that when you throw back a fish you don't want, okay, and I don't mean you need to be rude about this or denigrate the job or the person or anything. This was thank you for the manifestation. I think I can do better, and toss it back. What you're saying to the universe is, I can do better than this. There's another one coming. There's something else out there for me. And I've seen it time and time and time and time and time and time and time again, where I've rejected something that I didn't want, and then almost immediately the better thing showed up. So I want you guys to be more comfortable. If something shows up that you don't want, be willing to say, well, thank you very much. That was, you know what, universe, that was pretty close, but I think we can do better. Chuck it off and just keep moving. It's a much more abundant way to live because the message that it projects is there's better out there. I can get more of what I want. Things can work out for me. Okay, so this is the way that you want to go about it. Now, if I think about this in a financial way, I want to give you guys a financial example here when it comes to jobs. And so I'll tell you about myself, and maybe you can make a connection with yourself or somebody else. But back when I used to be a high school teacher, and I've talked about this before, I didn't make very much money. Okay, not very much money at all. And it was very interesting because I was in a job that in several ways wasn't what I wanted. But I didn't want to let it go. I didn't want to reject it. And when I looked at my peers, my colleagues, they were all kind of in the same boat, most of them. They felt overworked. They felt underpaid. But it was very interesting because about this time every year, we would start thinking about the next year. Okay. And so there were contracts that they would reissue. And so especially the first few years that I worked, I wasn't a tenured teacher. And so you were so worried that they weren't going to issue you another contract. Okay. Because I don't want to lose this job that I have. Can you see how that's lack mindset? Now, what this did was it meant that I was accepting a lower quality offer. And I'm not denigrating the teaching profession at all. I have a lot of respect for teachers, very much. What I'm saying is that for me, the place that I worked wasn't working for me, and I wasn't making as much money as I wanted. And I accepted that. And what ended up happening is they did keep reissuing my contract, and I never made any more money. I made the same low amount year after year after year because I was very afraid of rejecting that job. When I learned about the law of attraction and I started to see the importance of raising standards, this is about the time I started to understand we need to move past this, okay? And when I finally decided to quit my job and move into doing what it is that I do now, it was very remarkable because very quickly everything kind of got shook up. I started to work on my own and make a different job for myself where I ended up making a lot more money. My husband ended up actually losing his job, being laid off, but then almost immediately finding another job that paid about double. And just this simple act of rejecting what I didn't want put me in a position where more money was coming in and I was doing work I actually wanted to do, but it required me to throw back the fish I didn't want. Okay. It required me to say, I'm better than this. I'm worth more money. I'm worth doing what it is that I want. When you say that to the universe through your action, it's a much higher resonance that puts you in alignment with just simply getting more to reinforce that belief that you deserve more. Okay. So always be willing to reject low quality offers because whenever you accept them, it's lack mentality and it actually makes your abundance worse. Very important thing to understand. All right, let's answer some of these questions here. Arlie, thank you for the super. Arlie asks, hi, Andrea. How do you manifest the dream job after leaving a very toxic work environment, plus manifesting a better workplace in all aspects, good benefits, and great pay, plus great people? So you've already left the toxic work environment. Well, that's an excellent first step. Okay. One of the big things when it comes to the job search is you got to stay positive, okay? So you want to be apply for the higher quality positions. That's one thing. Don't just reach out for the things that you think you can get, because again, that's fishing for low quality. Really concentrate your efforts in on, well, this is what I really want to be doing. These are the places that are most likely to pay the most. And so that's where I'm going to focus. Okay. I'm not going to get distracted with lower quality. This is another thing people do. I'm just going to take whatever don't do that. Focus on what you want. And then as you're going through the process, everything needs to be validated and celebrated. So if you find a job out there in the ethers that looks like it's the perfect job, I want you to thank the universe for bringing you a great possible place to work. Look, I manifested a wonderful possible job. We're just accepting that that's wonderful. So what that's going to do is going to keep you positive about that one. And it's also going to make you a match for finding others that are also in alignment with that. If you get an interview for one of these places, again, thank you, universe, for matching me up with a place and getting an interview for a place that looks like it would be really, really great. Because again, that's going to keep you positive about that particular place and make you more of a match to getting other interviews. Okay. So every step along the way, I want you to be doing that. When you go in for an interview, I want you to be very focused on, what do I like about this place? What do I like about the interviewer? What's good about this place? What is fun about this place? We want to take it away from, are they going to accept me? Are they going to like me? And instead, what do I like about this place? What do I like about this place? That's important because it makes that particular job option one that will be filled with good benefits, great pay, good work environment, and you're going to be projecting positively on it, making you more likely to be hired. Okay? So that's what I would say for that. Okay? Validate along the process, be looking for what you want. Excellent, excellent question. High quality. Okay? Very important. Another question. Elika, could you give some tips on easy morning, evening routines for effective manifesting high vibes? Kind of getting overwhelmed by all the advice out there. Okay. If we make it as simple as possible, the only thing that's important in the morning is that you start your day off right. That's it. Okay. So the whole point of the routines, the routine thing has gotten out of control. Have you seen some of these routine videos? Oh my God, doing all this stuff. The purpose of the morning routine is setting the tone. Okay, that's it. So whatever it is that you need to do in the morning to feel the way it is that you want to feel throughout the day, that's kind of what you want to be doing. Okay, so for me, I kind of like to have the get up and go kind of feeling to my day. I want to go to the gym and hit it hard. I want to get some work done. I like that feeling. And then later in the day, I like to relax. So I like to start the day with things that kind of get me focused in that area, things that kind of pump me up a little bit. So higher octane music I'll listen to when I'm doing my makeup, okay? Or I'll kind of jot down maybe some of the things that I want to accomplish at the gym, but anything that gets my mind focused in that area. If you want to have a relaxed day, maybe thinking more of a relaxed vibe in the morning, listening to soothing music, okay? Think about something that aligns with the kind of energy you want to have. So it's not about one routine fits all, okay? The important thing to understand is that you want to think about what is it that I'm trying to do with today and what's the vibe of that, and infusing your morning with that vibe. Does that make sense? Now, the beauty of that is you're not going to get bored and you're not going to get overwhelmed. Just ask yourself, what's something I could do right now that would be fun or enjoyable that kind of sets the tone for the day? Is it watching a particular video? Is it doing some journaling? Is it a meditation? Is it listening to music? Is it imagining something? Anything would work. Okay, so that's kind of what I do suggest because that keeps you flexible. Okay, good question. ASMR Tingled Pink asks, I don't like confrontation and have dealt with an extremely disrespectful neighbor that blasts their TV day in and day out. How can I make the noise stop without confronting them or raising my standards? Oh, I mean, okay, so the last live I did, I think is good for this one. Okay. I don't like confrontation. I would say raising your standards. I talked a little bit about not being a nice person in the last live and how sometimes it helps to be confrontational. A lot of people don't want to be confrontational. They don't want to go through that process. And I understand that because it can be frustrating. But when we don't speak up, Okay. When somebody's doing something to us or in our vicinity that we do not like and we do not speak up, we start to feel victimized by the situation, that that person is in control over us. We're not allowed to speak up. It's bad for us to speak up. And in a moment like that, it can be better to just get it out there and move on. And I'm telling you this because this is one of those things that I worked with myself, where I wanted to just manifest the problem away when the easy solution was simply to knock on the door and ask them to turn it down. Okay. I've noticed that the more, and I'm do it or don't do it, it's up to you. But I've made it a habit for myself that if there's something that is bothering me, I just say it quickly, get it out there and move on. Because if I don't, it's going to start to fester and the problem will become worse. And I'm going to become more upset about it and feel more victimized about it. But if I just nip it in the bud really quick, it goes away very quickly. Okay. So I might recommend that. What I would, I know you don't want to do it, but if you have issues with confrontation, they do compound themselves. So I would definitely recommend that, you know what, get ready for it. The next time this happens, I'm just going to walk right over there. Okay. And sometimes having that attitude is enough to just make it go away. Because if you're sitting there thinking, okay, go ahead and turn your TV on and blast it because I'm ready to go over there today. Now you're not resisting the noise. That's part of the problem. So this is the other part of this equation that's helpful, is that as you get used to being quick, I don't mean yelling at people and causing a scene. That's not what I mean. This isn't about being rude. It's just about immediately kind of checking it and letting them know this is what I would prefer. When you get used to it, you stop trying to avoid it. I don't worry about people doing stuff like that anymore. If somebody wants to make noise in my front yard, I know I'm just going to go out there and ask them to stop. So I'm not fighting against it. And so it's less likely to happen. So the funny thing about this is the easier it is for you to confront the problem, the less the problems will present themselves and you'll need to be confrontational. Hope that helps. All right, guys, if you have not yet, please make sure to go ahead and subscribe to me on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram and on Facebook as well. I do try to do lives like this twice a week, usually on Thursdays and Sundays. And I'd love for you guys to come along with me. So go ahead and subscribe, follow, put the notifications on so you are alerted when I go live. And then also, if you are new to my work and you have not yet, please make sure to take my manifesting test. Okay, if you want to know for sure that you really are the creator of your reality, and what's going on up here is what's going on out here. Okay, if you really want to know that you're the one doing all of it, take the test. It's very simple, it's quick, it's 5 minutes, and it's free. It will enable you to put something out and watch it come back so that you know for sure that you are the creator of your reality and you don't have to just take my word for it. Okay, you can take that test at manifestingtest.com. Again, that's manifestingtest.com. And of course, there are links in the description on Facebook and on YouTube and on Instagram. Everything is in the link tree on my bio. Okay. All right. Moving right along. Yeah, I want to answer some more of these. Let me get through this next point. I'll come over and answer some of these. I got to get Instagram. Haven't got you guys yet. Ooh, next point. This is a good one. Again, we're talking about raising your standards. Raising your standards will make you rich. Okay? Can't be accepting low quality. So don't get upset with this one. Okay? This is one I kind of wandered into by accident. Okay? So, and I talk about this. If you want to be able to have things, it helps to go be around those things. Okay? So I talked about this watch. Okay? So being able to get a Rolex, I had to be willing to go into the store, try them on. I had to get around it. Okay? And so as I started to notice that if I want nice things, I got to start going to nice stores, I started just going to nice stores more and more. And it was an interesting thing because I've noticed that the more that I'm going in nicer places, there is this compounding effect on my abundance. So it is back in the day when I did not have money, I did not shop in nice places, like I mentioned before. Okay, so I would shop at like the dollar store, I would shop at Walmart, I would shop at, thrift stores. And there's nothing wrong with these places on the surface, but if you are trying to become rich, it will benefit you highly to improve the environments that you're spending in time in. Okay? So, what I mean by this is that if you have options between two different grocery stores, pick the nicer one. Okay? If you have options between two different clothing stores, pick the nice one. If you have two options on what school to send your kids to, send them to the nicer one. Now, I know on the surface, because I can think back to when I didn't attract money, that can feel scary because how am I supposed to afford those prices? How am I supposed to do that? That doesn't make any sense. There's no money coming in. Okay. The problem is when you're hanging out in low quality environments, you start to adopt and maintain the lower quality mentality of that environment. Okay. So now you're being tethered to an environment that reinforces lack mentality. It reinforces we don't have enough money. It reinforces we can only shop on a budget. And it reinforces this idea that I'm the kind of person who doesn't attract a lot of money. Now, I'm telling you this because, as I've changed my attitude about what kind of environments I will allow myself in, it's shifted all of them. It didn't do it all at once. It started with things like the grocery store and worked its way up. But now, I'm going to live in the neighborhood, the best neighborhood I can. I'm going to get the best flight that I can. I'm going to drive the best car that I can. I'm going to shop at the best grocery store that I can. My kids are going to go to the best school I can put them in. Even if I don't know how the money is going to come for that, the funny thing is that putting yourself in that environment automatically will level you up. It will. Because you start to adopt the mindset of the higher quality environment. You're around people who think more abundantly. It rubs off on you. You're around higher luxury items. You start to think in that way of thinking. And it's a very, very interesting thing is that, when you start to move up, you're going to notice that when you go back to the other environments, you're shocked. Shocked. So the other day, and there's nothing against this store, okay? If you shop at this store, I shopped at this store all the time. There is nothing wrong with this store at all, but I just don't shop there anymore, okay? I just don't. And the store is Kohl's, okay? I used to love Kohl's. I was all about the Kohl's cash. I would go in there with my Kohl's coupons and shop the clearance racks and get a ton of stuff for like $15. Like I used to love Kohl's. So Kohl's was a place that I used to shop to save money. That's why I went. As I've increased my environments, and now I have higher standards for the environments that I allow myself to walk into, should I ever have to go back to a place like that, I'm shocked. So I'm telling you this because the other day, I had something on Amazon I had to return, and the only place I could return it to is Kohl's. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go into Kohl's. And I'm walking through there, and I'm shocked. Shocked. Not that it's a bad place, okay? I was shocked that this is what I used to think was normal. And again, there's nothing wrong with it, but the environment that I'm in now, I've adjusted to a different vibration. I've adjusted into that more entitled vibration that we were talking about earlier, where I expect the best. I expect to walk into a beautiful store with beautiful, employees who are happy to do whatever, and this higher luxury and experience. That's what I'm used to. And so when I go back to the other store, I'm shocked because I can remember being there. And I'm like, wow, this is nuts how much I've shifted. And there's nothing against this store. I'm just saying I can see clearly where my mentality was back when I used to shop there. And so you don't have to go and just, do all the best right now. But I really recommend, guys, as much as you can, I want you to be accepting only higher and higher quality environments the more that you move on. Do not be afraid of shopping in the better grocery store, okay? You may be afraid that you're going to lose a few dollars or it's going to cost a few dollars more, but what you're going to gain in abundance runs circles around that. you're going to start to think, well, I'm the kind of person that shops in this fancy store. And that puts an attitude on you that makes you more of a magnet for more money. You're going to attract some more money and you're going to start going to other nice places, and that's going to rub off on you. And before you know it, you're attracting all kinds of money. This is a very simple thing you can do. You do not need to do it with every single place, but start doing it. Okay, because it's made a huge, huge impact on my ability to attract money. Okay. All right, let's answer some of these on Instagram because I've been neglecting Instagram. Italianette, is it possible to manifest a husband that has specific looks and values that I want? Sure. As long as you're not too tied to it. I'll tell you a quick story. My brother, I don't talk about him much, but my brother was going to Vietnam. He likes to travel, but he was going to Vietnam for a couple of weeks. This was months ago. And he likes to travel. He's weird, okay? Like, he's the kind of guy, he'll travel with a backpack and he'll just get there and he doesn't have accommodations set up. He just wants to go and figure it out. I don't know. But he had gotten out of a relationship, and we were talking before he left, and he said to me, you know, I would really love when I was on this vacation if I, you know, possibly met a girl who likes to travel and she's like this and this and this. But it was a very cavalier attitude he had about it. It was kind of a pipe dream, but I'm just going to go on this vacation and, you know, have fun, and wouldn't that be funny? Well, lo and behold, he comes back and he found her. There's this beautiful blonde girl who loves to travel and lives the same kind of lifestyle as him. And now they've been talking, and now he's gone to see her, and it's turned into a whole thing. What I'm telling you from this is it is perfectly fine to have a tall order for anything that you want. Okay. And I do encourage you guys to have tall orders, but what's important about getting them is just the cavalier attitude. Wouldn't it be fun if this comes to me? Not, I need this guy to show up. Okay. Very important. Lily of the Cosmos, what's an example of raising your standards in the work or professional environment? Well, obviously, if you don't like your job, go find a different one. That's probably the first and foremost. Okay, so if you're in a place and you're not, go start looking for something better. Or you can be looking to level up your current professional role, so maybe taking on more responsibilities or going for a promotion, something like that. Another thing that could be helpful is to elevate how you are right now as you walk into work. Okay, so this is another thing, is raising your standards for yourself. So I'm going to show up. The one thing they talk about a lot is dressing for the job that you want, not the job that you have. I'm going to show up looking like I mean business. I'm going to show up in a positive mood. I'm going to show up looking to have the most fun here that I can, make the most money that I can. And I'm mentioning this because the environment thing can also be an internal one as well. A lot of people are accepting a lower quality vibration from themselves when they walk into work. And I know, because I used to be one of these people. I want to show up for casual Friday and I've got an attitude and I don't want to be here. Okay. So that's accepting lower quality standards as well. So in this environment, if you don't like your current job, I would start dressing for the job that you want, not the job that you have, showing up the best that you can, the highest vibration that you can, but looking to level up. If you don't like where you're at, ask for more. Go put out more resumes, go ask for a raise, or go ask for a promotion, something of that nature. Good question. And we got some more supers here. Opulent Beauty, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Arlie's got another one. Okay. Arlie, thank you. Arlie says, Andrea, how do you manifest a better high pay out terms and contract and remove the unfair restrictions put on it? How do you revert this? So we already accepted a low quality offer? That's kind of what it sounds like if you want to revert it. If you don't like, okay. If you've accepted something that's lower quality, okay, that's okay. Just go out and ask for something better. So this particular thing is done in advance. So on the next one, when they come at you with an offer, if you don't like the offer, come back. You know what? I would prefer this. Okay? This is another thing I haven't mentioned yet, by the way, that I think is very helpful. Negotiation. A lot of people, someone asked earlier about being afraid of confrontation. Okay? A lot of people are also afraid of negotiation. I just want them to give me what I want. And if they don't give it to me, how do I just manifest them magically wanting to give it to me? Just ask for it. Okay? Negotiation and confrontation are things that we look down on, okay, as if they're not manifestation or whatever. They are the fastest pathways to, is simply you being willing to ask for what it is that you want. So if somebody brings you an offer that's close, so you know this is really close, but this is what I actually want, and go back to them, okay? Be more comfortable asking for what you want. But don't be looking for them. You can ask them to remove the unfair restrictions if you want. That's another thing. You could just go and ask them. And if they don't do it, go find another place. Again, people are afraid to do this. I don't want to lose this fish. Don't worry about losing the fish, okay? It's a bad fish. Let it go. If you're willing to ask for what you want and you're willing to walk away, the universe is going to match you up with better every single time, okay? It's a confidence. It's the confidence that you put into it. Hope that's helpful. Luis, thank you very much. So true. High standards protect you from low quality experiences. Exactly. Exactly. If you're not willing to accept them, they're going to stop coming. That's one of the big things too. When you stop accepting lower quality, it stops showing up on your doorstep. It may seem hard to do at first, to walk away from things, but as you do it, the universe stops presenting it to you, and you just get higher and higher quality manifestations, whether it's through money or relationships or whatever. Okay. Okay. Here, we got to talk about this point too. This is super important. So another thing that happens as you're raising your standards, I got to mention this because this is going to happen. So I want you to be prepared for it when it happens. Okay. When you decide, I'm not putting up with this crap, I want more. Okay. And you start getting more, this will happen, which is you're going to get some pushback from your reality initially. So what you will see is maybe your husband doesn't agree with your choices, or maybe your friends don't agree with your choices, or maybe these people think you should keep doing this, or those people think that you should keep doing this. And so this is a very common experience, and I actually get quite a few questions about this particular topic, which is I'm trying to do this, but then these people around me are keeping me down. I want you guys to understand this, that as you raise your standards, you will encounter pushback from your reality. Not from the manifestations, but from other people. Now, the reason why this occurs, okay, it's a very important thing to understand. So when it happens, you're ready for it, okay? The reason why this occurs is every single person you've met in your life up until now resonates with you on your current standards. Meaning, if you have limitations about money or limitations about relationships or expectations, there's kind of only this range that you're matched up with right now. If you go from being the kind of person that's a Walmart shopper, and that was me, okay, Walmart shopper, you go from being Walmart shopper and you're in the range of people who enjoy shopping at Walmart, when now all of a sudden you're shopping at, I don't know, Saks Fifth Avenue all the time, the people down here are going to have something to say about it. And it's not because they're bad people, and it's not because they can't raise to meet you. It's because you identify them as having that mentality. So you moving up is going to elicit chatter from the peanut gallery. I want you to understand this, because the way people usually interpret this is I'm leveling up and they're trying to pull me down. That's not what's going on. You're leveling up and you perceive them as having the lower mindset. So they're giving you what you expect. They're giving you the mouth back that you would expect you would have given to somebody back when you accepted that lower quality environment. I got to tell you this because this is the one thing that'll drag people right back down, is that the whole peanut gallery starts saying, you're wasting money on that. You shouldn't be doing that. That's bad financial advice. And then, okay, let me listen to the herd, and you go right back down. You want to look at it this way. Okay, wherever you're at, it's where you're at. I'm moving up. Okay, that's where I'm going. Okay, and I'm going to get used to this, and everyone's going to come up with me. So the more they bark, good. Because you know what? I want to be the person that helps level them up too. But in order for them to level up, I got to be okay with going up and listening to them chatter right now. I hope that makes sense. I want you to have that in your mind so that when people start barking, it just from, oh yeah, that's the old mindset. I used to think that way too. Okay. They'll get used to this, and they're going to get used to me being up here, and they're going to want to come join me. That's what's going to happen. Rather than, oh no, they don't like this. I got to go back down there. Hold your ground. Don't acquiesce. I see a lot of people doing that. Oh, thank you very much, Narcy888, for the super. I appreciate you. Thank you. $728 Huey. Ooh, good question. What do you do if you have Park Avenue or Rodeo Drive dreams, but you're living in a shack in a dying West Virginia coal town and you're far away from wealthier towns or cities? It sounds like you want to move. Nothing wrong with West Virginia, but what I hear from this is you want to move. I would move if this was my situation. Nothing wrong with where you live, nothing wrong with those people or the place that you're at all. But if what you want is that higher end lifestyle and you're settling for where you are, you're not going to get there. Sounds daunting, but there's a lot to be said for just getting on that path. Now, that sounds like a lot of work. Let's not make it work. I was actually talking to my daughter about this today. Any big thing that you want to accomplish, chunk it up into little pieces and just do the littlest piece right now. Okay, so maybe that's just look up some places to live, or maybe write down a list of places that might be fun to go and just start to dip a toe in it. And then after you get into that, what's the next little thing I could do? Well, maybe I could call a real estate agent. What's the next little thing I could do? Maybe I could take a virtual tour. What's the next thing I could do? Well, maybe I could fly out there and just go see it. What's the next little thing I could do? Well, maybe I could get the contract. Little tiny chunks are easier to manifest. Okay, so you just little tiny chunk. And you'll find that if you just do this, somewhere along the line, it just starts to pick up and you're like, oh, time for me to go. And you'll go. Okay, but you got to take the first steps. Yeah, if you don't like where you're living, be willing not to reject the people. It's a bad place, but be willing to level up and go. Okay. There's a reason you're being called. Fairy girl. Question. So say you have super annoying clients who pay very little. How can you raise your standards, especially if you want to do something different in regard to attracting money? Fire your clients. Fire them. By the way, if you guys run a business, this is really great advice, okay? Especially if you have a kind of business where you got a lot of clients and one-on-one work. A lot of times, this is another example of accepting lower quality. When people start a business, maybe it's a coaching business or, I don't know, hair cutting, whatever it is that you're doing, and you've got to attract clients, there's not a lot of confidence initially, okay, because it's new, whatever, so we're a little worried about it. And so some of the first people that come in may very likely be lower quality clients. Maybe they don't want to pay. Maybe they haggle you on price. Maybe they call and blow up your phone 1,000 times and ask a bunch of questions and criticize your work. And it's just not a great experience for you. What a lot of people do in that situation is they keep the client. Well, if I lose this client, I got no one coming in. Okay. This is not the strategy you want to employ. Okay. Because what will happen is you will start to attract more people like that. And should you attract a high quality client, you now don't have the time to service them the way that you really want to, because this one over here is taking up all your time. So people like that you're attracting are actually costing you money. They're not making you money. Okay, so let's say that the haircut costs $60. That's how much you're charging. It's $60 for the haircut. But she's calling all the time and she's canceling her appointments and she's not showing up. That $60 wasn't an hour of your time. It ended up being 4 or 5 hours of your time. You see how that's costing you money? So always be willing to, you know what, I'm sorry, I can't take you on right now. I'm sorry, I got to trim back my number of clients, because that's an abundance mindset. I'm going to throw this fish back. There's better ones out there. You will become a better match to better clients if you fire the ones that are costing you money. Okay? Don't be afraid. Just do it. Just do it. It works. Oh, Edinari, I've started asking tactfully for gratuity from clients. Some don't, and I can tell they have resistance, but I realize I have the right to take up space in the universe. Oh, I like this. So, asking for what you want doesn't have to be gratuities, but being willing to ask for what you want puts you in resonance with having. So, again, with the law of attraction, it's ask, believe, receive. We all get that. You guys get that, asking the universe. But when it comes to asking a client or asking your boss or asking your mother, I don't want to ask there. It's the same mechanism. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. Have you heard that expression before? The person who asks is more likely to receive. Now, the beauty of this is you may ask and some may say no, especially when it's new and it's fresh, because maybe they're not going to say yes. But if you start to adopt this attitude that she has, I have the right to take up space in the universe. I have the right to ask. I can ask for what I want. They say no, that's on them. You start to emit a different energy. I'm allowed to ask for what I want. I'm allowed to say what I want. Okay? That's another abundant mindset to have. So this is a really great thing to do. Just start asking for the things that you want. Okay? Don't just ask the universe. A lot of questions about dealing with other people. There's a lot of fear about being confrontational. If you're worried about being confrontational or asking for the things that you want, you may want to watch the last live that I did. And it's about how being nice is low vibration. And that's not a slam at you. If you think that you're a nice person, it's about the act of being nice and avoiding confrontation and not saying how you feel. And there's a whole video on that where we talk about, we got to get over that if we want to be good manifestors. So that was a really good example of that. Thank you for sharing. Katharina, why do I have such resistance to working? I always hope to attract money through winning the lottery or a gift, anything but my own effort. Why is it that I am so averse to working, afraid to sweat? I mean, is that a problem? I don't think you're alone. How many people actually like working? Okay. I wouldn't fight against that necessarily. I think what I'm hearing from this is that I don't want to be stressed out. I don't want to do something that's hard. I don't think any of you guys should be doing something that stresses you out or that is hard. Because what that implies is that I'm trying to figure out the path. Instead, what is it that I want? I want to be abundant. I want to have the things that I want. Stay in alignment and be led. You will get the ideas. You will get the stuff that just shows up. Okay? The work path is the cart before the horse path. It's I'm going to figure out how to get this money in here, and then it's going to show up. If you don't like working, then I just advise that you stay in the flow, because it sounds like you're more attuned to staying in the flow. Just don't label that as a bad thing, because people who stay in the flow are more likely to be taken to better opportunities where money just shows up, or if they have to do work, it's work that they love doing. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. The reason you guys hate work is because a lot of the work isn't work you want to be doing. And if it's not stuff that you want to be doing, you shouldn't be doing it. Okay? Because doing something that you don't want to do to make money is lack mentality. And if you have lack mentality, you're not going to attract as much money as you want. Okay? Paula, speaking of data, what if you throw back the fish that's just not right, but then they circle back later? It's like I keep attracting the same guys over and over. Is this a test from the universe? Ooh, kind of. Reject him again or ignore him. There's something in there that's still kind of entertaining it, you know? So just keep throwing him back. You don't have to date them again. So what? He wants to show up. I'm just going to keep it moving. In my experience with people, there's just kind of that little tie. I still want him to like me, or maybe in a perfect world it could work out, or maybe he's changed this time. There's a little bit of that going on. Each time he comes back, just remind yourself, this is what I want. This is the offer you brought to the table, sir. I know what offer he's bringing. I want this offer. Just remembering that can make it easier. Oh yeah, that's right. That's a low quality offer. Don't entertain it. Okay. All right, guys, another reminder here again. If you haven't yet signed up for the notifications for the sale, if you like this content on attracting more money and tips and tricks to do so, I've got 6 products and programs that are going on sale May 15th through the 26th that are all abundance related. One of them comes with coaching, by the way. One of them is a debt manifestation, how to get out of debt program using the law of attraction. I have ones on limiting blocks, limiting behaviors, and all different types of tips and tricks to attract money easily. Okay, so this is the biggest sale for my abundance products all year. And so there will be a coupon code for 50% off on all of these programs going out via email May 15th through the 22nd. If you want to get that email and that code, make sure to go ahead and sign up. Additionally, again, if you haven't yet, make sure to subscribe, follow, like the video, all that good stuff. And as a quick reminder, I should be back on Thursday. Thursdays and Sundays are my usual days that I do show up. And I'll be here around the same time, which is 11:30 a.m. my time, whatever time this is of yours. But that is going to do it for today. Thank you so much, guys, for all of the questions, all of the supers. I do appreciate it.